What power snatches do for you? Today we look at the benefits of a power snatch and what they do for you or for the athlete on a movement level, on a physiological level, and on a psychological level. What power snatches do for you? Power snatches offer a wide variety of benefits if executed correctly. If we're looking on a movement level and we break it down to fundamental movements, I've talked about that before, we have certain fundamental movements. The power snatch works on a few fundamental movements in actually one exercise. So that's one benefit right there. We have the squatting pattern, we have the bending and extending pattern, and we also have the jumping and landing pattern. So we work on 3 patterns in one movement, plus stabilizing the weight overhead. We're also working on the vertical stabilization pattern. There is such thing in sports, which is called a triple extension. I've talked about that before. It's basically the extension of the hip, knee, and ankle. And any sport that involves running, jumping, throwing, and so on has a triple extension. So if you are in this sport, it makes a lot of sense to train exercises where a triple extension is involved. It doesn't necessarily mean per se you have to do the power snatches, but the power snatch is one of the best exercises to train the triple extension. So we talked about expressing forces. Sorry, we talked about expressing forces, so bringing the weight up. But also in the catch phase, when we lock the weight overhead and we catch it in squat position, that also has some benefits. One is the eccentric control, so really learning to absorb the forces from the hip, but also locking it out from the upper body has an effect on shoulder stability, a beneficial effect on shoulder stability if you do it correctly. And lastly for this video, one of the often overlooked benefits is the psychological aspect. As compared to the power clean, where you catch the weight on your shoulders, you have to bring the weight overhead. So what I see with a lot of athletes, it takes a lot of courage to bring a heavy weight over your head. First over your head, and then bringing yourself under in a squat position below that weight. And it's scary for a lot of athletes. So for the ones that do it well, it also enhances their ability to express courage, let's say. From the other perspective, I talked about that before. I haven't found that in the literature, in English literature. The German literature has one word, it's called Willensstoßkraft. It must be sounding very funny for non-native Germans. But basically it talks about the ability to express a voluntary effort in the shortest period of time. So the power snatch, similar to the power clean, is an exercise which is a make it or don't make it. So once you started the movement, there's no hesitation, no nothing. So you really need to go for that lift. And that's what the power snatch, as well as the power clean, but that's another discussion, that's what the power snatch teaches. It teaches you to express a voluntary effort quickly and not hesitating. So this is the psychological benefit that it has that is often overlooked in my opinion. So as a recap, the power snatch teaches fundamental movements like squatting, jumping, landing, and also the horizontal stability. It's vertical, horizontal is this one. So it's the vertical stability, excuse me for this one. So it teaches the fundamental movement patterns, including the vertical stability. It also teaches absorbing forces, especially on the catch phase. And it also teaches the mental aspect, the psychological aspect of make it or don't make it and really going for it.